I was exactly there, standing on the edge between desire and action, knowing what I needed to do but stalling, waiting for the right time, the perfect setting, the ideal courage, until one simple, yet defining thought hit me. If I start today, the woman I'll be in 90 days will thank me. It was like a switch flipped, because I realized that the woman I wanted to become, wealthier, more confident, more grounded, wasn't going to magically appear. She needed to be born from me, right now. So I made a decision, and in 90 days everything started to change. It wasn't a miracle. It was routine, mindset, execution. And every micro choice I made became a pillar for the woman who now lives a life that once felt out of reach. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I did it, and how you can build your new version in just 3 months. Go ahead and hit like, subscribe to the channel, because what comes next isn't about waiting. It's about starting today. 1. I realized that clarity comes before courage, so I wrote down who I wanted to become. On day 1 of my turning point, I wasn't confident. I wasn't ready. I was tired, full of doubts, and scared I wouldn't make it. But even so, I sat down with a notebook and wrote, "Who is the woman I want to be in 90 days?" I wrote it like it was already real, with details: how much she earns, how she wakes up, how she speaks, what she tolerates, what she chooses. And right there, with my hand shaking, I realized it wasn't about courage. It was about clarity. Because clarity drives action, and action creates results. Every day I looked at that paper, and I made decisions asking, does this bring me closer or further from the woman I promised to become? Today, that version is no longer on paper. She's in my routine, my posture, my reflection in the mirror. Have you written your next version with full detail? Comment below. My clarity activates my new self. If this reminded you that change begins with a name and a vision. 2. I stopped waiting for free time and started creating time with priorities. One of the biggest lies I used to tell myself was, I'll start when I have more time. But that time never came, because my schedule was always packed with everything, except what really mattered. So on day 2, I looked at my calendar and asked, what's taking up space that belongs to the woman I want to be? I cut out pointless meetings, silenced notifications, reorganized my mornings. I carved out a sacred, non-negotiable 2-hour focus block each day. The first few days were tough, but by the second week, I was in a different rhythm. Lighter, more intentional, and for the first time in control of my own time. The truth is, time doesn't just show up. It's created by those who define their priorities. Today, I still have 24 hours in a day, but how I use those hours changed my life. Are you still waiting for extra time? Or have you realized that priority creates space? Comment. I create time through decisions. If this just flipped your productivity mindset. 3. I turned my word into a contract, and discipline into identity I had tried before. Many times. I'd start excited, then quit after a week or 2. Always with an excuse. It was a tough day. This week is too busy. I'll make it up later. But this time, I did it differently. I decided that if I said I would do it, I would. Even if no one was watching. And that changed everything. I promised myself I'd post content every day for 90 days. I promised to study for 30 minutes a day, no exceptions. I promised to review my goals every Friday, and I kept those promises. Not because I felt like it every day, but because my word became a contract. Over time, discipline stopped being effort. It became identity. It became who I am now, and that gave me a kind of strength I'd never felt before. Today, when I make a promise to myself, I keep it, because I've learned to trust myself, and that's the kind of power no one can take away. Are you stuck in a cycle of unmet goals? Or have you decided that your word matters more than your mood? Comment below. My word is a contract with myself, if this just raised your accountability level. 4. I stopped consuming content as a distraction, and started applying with intention. I used to spend hours watching videos, saving posts, reading carousels. I thought I was getting ready, but really it was just a pretty form of procrastination. I felt busy, informed, but I wasn't moving. So I made a radical decision. For every piece of content I consumed, I'd apply one action. If I watched a video on sales, I'd make an offer that same day. If I learned a new tool, I'd test it immediately. If I saw a routine tip, I'd tweak my schedule right away. The result was instant. I stopped feeling stuck. I started seeing real progress. And most importantly, I realized that what changes your life isn't what you know, it's what you execute. Now I'm selective with what I consume, and lightning fast with what I apply. Because I understand the world doesn't reward those who know the most. It rewards those who act on what they know. Are you consuming to grow? or just to feel productive without moving forward? Comment. I apply before seeking more, if this made you rethink your learning habits. 5. I swapped comparison for inspiration and turned others' success into a compass, not a threat. For a long time, seeing other women thrive made me feel small. I pretended it didn't, but deep down, I was silently comparing myself, shrinking, feeling like I was always behind. That feeling held me back, slowed me down, disconnected me from my own path. One day, I decided to look at it differently. Instead of thinking, look at what she has that I don't, I started thinking, if she did it, then there's a way. And if there's a way, I can walk it too. I traded envy for curiosity. Comparison became inspiration, and the frustration that once froze me turned into fuel. I began studying what those women did, how they positioned themselves, how they spoke. Then I adapted, modeled, applied. And with that, I stopped competing and started growing. Today, someone else's success doesn't shrink me. It pushes me, shows me what's possible, and it gave me the freedom to admire myself, and others too. Are you using other people's success to sabotage yourself, or to move forward with more strength? Comment. I use others' success as inspiration, if this mindset needs to be part of your journey now. 6. I spoke my prices with confidence, even before I felt ready. One of the hardest decisions in those first 90 days was to stop negotiating my worth. I used to lower prices, add a little discount, accept trades, throw in bonuses because I thought no one would buy if I didn't make it easier. But one day, after delivering an excellent service, a thought hit me. If this isn't worth what I charged, then nothing will be. That day, I decided I would never again hesitate to state my value. I started practicing. I repeated my price out loud until it felt natural. I structured my offer so the impact was crystal clear. And most importantly, I convinced myself first, before convincing anyone else. At first, I still felt insecure, but I took a breath and spoke clearly. No discounts, no justifications. And to my surprise, people started to respect and pay. Today, my price isn't a plea. It's a firm proposal, aligned with the value I bring. Are you selling like you're asking for approval, or like someone who knows their worth? Comment. I communicate my value with clarity, if this shifted your sales mindset. 7. I committed to what seemed small, because I realized wealth starts in the details. At the beginning of my journey, everything felt too small. A post with a few likes, a modest sale, a quiet compliment. But it was in those ordinary moments that the extraordinary began. Because every woman who gets far goes through a phase where her work feels invisible, but that's exactly what lays the foundation. So I chose to treat the small with the same respect I wanted to give the big. I cared for every client like they were my most important one. I delivered free content like it was paid. I organized my finances, even with very little. And step by step, those details turned into confidence, momentum, credibility. Because when you treat what you already have with excellence, you show you're ready for what hasn't arrived yet. Today, my standards are high, even when no one's watching. Because I've learned the wealthy woman I'm building is born in the discipline of honoring humble beginnings. Are you waiting for something big to commit? Or have you realized the small stuff is the foundation? Comment. I treat the small with excellence, if this mindset shift needs to guide your journey. 8. I spoke my vision with conviction, even when no one got it. In the beginning, when I talked about what I wanted to build, people looked at me with doubt. Some laughed. Others changed the subject, and that made me question if I was dreaming too big. But then I realized, it's not other people's job to understand my vision. It's my job to stand by it. I decided that from that day on, I would speak my plan out loud with confidence, even without proof, even while it was all still taking shape. Because if I didn't believe it, no one else would. I wrote my goal on the wall. I repeated my vision in my content. I shared it with people on the same wavelength, not with those trying to protect me from disappointment. And slowly, my vision stopped being just an idea. It became momentum. It became reference. It became real. Today, I still talk about where I want to go, even if it sounds too big. Because I've learned that when you silence your dream to make others comfortable, you end up frustrated in silence. Are you shrinking your plan to fit others' expectations? Or have you decided to back your vision all the way? Comment. My vision is solid, even if no one gets it. If this gave you strength to keep showing the world what you came to build. 9. I built an emotional routine, not just a task routine. At the start of my transformation, I was focused only on doing. I'd wake up, list my goals, and execute. But soon something unexpected happened. I was producing but emotionally drained. That's when I realized real growth needs emotional structure, not just operational plans. So I created a routine that cared for my mind the way I care for my business. I started my mornings in silence, before checking any notifications. I wrote down how I was feeling to identify emotional triggers. I practiced gratitude, even when results were still small. Those small rituals gave me breathing space, clarity, emotional resilience to keep going, even when the external world wasn't matching up. Today, my mind is an asset, and I treat it as a top priority, because I've learned no one scales what they can't sustain, and emotional strength is what sustains the breakthrough. Are you treating your energy as part of the plan, or treating your mind like an afterthought? Comment: my emotional stability is my foundation. If this reminded you to include yourself in your own growth. 10. I decided I didn't need permission, only commitment. For a long time, I waited for a sign, an invite, some validation, someone to say, now you're ready. But that day never came, and deep down I knew it never would. Then, on day 90 of my journey, I looked at everything I had done and thought, none of this would have happened if I had kept waiting for permission. That's when it hit me. The real game changer wasn't the environment, the networking, or the resources. It was my commitment. Quiet, daily, sometimes uncomfortable, but real. I committed to growing, even without an audience. To earning, even without the perfect setup. To showing up, even without certainty. To building, even while tired. And that commitment is what got me here. That's what brought results. That's what transformed me. Today, I don't wait for someone to say I can. I decide that I will. Because I learned that the only permission that truly matters is the one I give myself, every single day. Are you still waiting for validation? Or have you realized your yes is enough? Comment: my commitment moves me more than any validation, if this final shift pulled you fully into the present. When I look back, I don't see luck. I don't see magic. I see a woman who got tired of waiting and chose to act, even with fear, even with doubts, even without applause. These last 90 days were built one day at a time, with clarity, even without courage, with routine, even without time, with discipline, even without applause, with focus, even without validation. And today, the woman I've become is deeply grateful for the version of me who chose to start, not with certainty, but with commitment. None of this required perfection, just a decision. Now, comment below. My 90-day version will thank me for what I start today, if you're ready to move, not on impulse, but with vision. And of course, like this video, subscribe to the channel now, and share it with a woman who needs a reminder that change doesn't start when everything is perfect. It starts with a single step. Because in 90 days, you'll either regret not starting, or you'll look back and say, I'm so glad I went for it, even without knowing how the path would unfold.